All right, traders, this is Rev and Whittaker by SageFT. You're watching the live trading desk review and Rev-Up for January 18th of 2026. Let's dive right in. First, we're going to do the introduction. We're going to go ahead and hit the recap. Okay, then we're going to talk about the weekly subject, and then we're going to go ahead and get into what we think is going to happen in the future. All right, so recap. All right, let's talk about my favorite trade here. Just 1 second. All right, as we break on down, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look, starting from the largest time frame. What were we looking at? And yes, this is very naked, right? Very, very naked, right? We're sitting at all-time highs. So ask yourself, is this a bull market, as other professionals are asking, right? To me, if we zoom out, the answer is yes. But over the past, month or two or three, it's really been a sideways market, right? So what we're looking at is, now we're going to bring all this stuff back on here. We're going to bring the big old box in here, right? And so think about it. We're sitting at the top of this range. So how did we trade it? Well, it was either going to break out, okay, or it was going to go sideways, or it was going to break down. Let's go to the smaller time frame. Okay, here it is on the 4 hour. Okay, you can see that it just kind of chops around. All right, so we were anticipating, last week we were anticipating anything to happen. Okay, let's go down to the 1 hour, the 2 hour. Let's break it on down into the 1 hour. All right, so now this is where it gets fun. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of show you what I did, where I traded it. I don't really remember which one it was. It was one of these here. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at a fun trade that I had that worked very, very well. And the reason I want to show it is, not only is it during hours, I also took the trade. Let me see if I took it correctly. I did, but I could have taken it a lot better. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at how I could have taken it better. Okay, what Nick Tudormore and I call this is the lowercase h. All right, we call it the lowercase h. All right, now the reason we call it lowercase h is when it completes, it's a lowercase h. All right, so how do we play it? All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a thought of, well, what is the KISS chart doing? Okay, first thing we're going to see is we're below VWAP. We're below 200. VWAP is actually below the 200, so it's actually bearish. 20 is below. Everything's pointing down, and we're waiting for the price to curl back down correctly and turn into something that gives us something to look forward to. I also want to point out that our delta definitely took a brunt of that barrage of the selling, and they absolutely pushed into lower levels. So you can see that the aggressive seller has taken it to the bid. All right, so now we're watching is, where does the aggressive seller come back in and take it to the bid? Boom, right there. That's my favorite trade. Now this one actually gained some more steam, because now you can't use this. This is a finished VPOC. Don't use this. That is not, if I could take that off, I would, but I can't. Okay, so now watch. There's the next signal. And yes, you would take that because look, it's completely in context. Now let's assume that the 15-minute was pointing down, which it was, and boom. Okay, that right there is my favorite trade, right? We call it the lowercase h. In this case, it gave us lots of ammunition. Look at the big seller here after you would have entered here. Boom, 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 boom. So now let's take a look at, well, what would the profit targets be? What could you do? Okay, your stop would be 775, if I remember it correctly, and you're just going to go, right? And now notice, watch this though. Watch. Everybody gets satisfied quickly, but watch what happens when you hold. Watch what happens when you hold. This is really cool. Okay, this is a great part of patience. Watch this. Okay, let's just count the R's, right? 1 R, 2 R. Ready? Oh, no. Oh, I moved my stop down to break even and it snapped me. Oh, oops. Okay, ready? Kaya basa. Hi. 3 R, 4 R, 5 R. Okay, now look at everything on this screen. Okay, not the end queue at the bottom of it, if that's what you're looking at, but you can see where I'm going with this. All right, that's my favorite trade. All right, that's part of the review. You'll see that every single session. Make sure you hit that like button, folks. It takes a lot of effort for us three to do these videos. Hit the like button, subscribe, turn notification bells on. Share this with your friends. You're going to see that if you go back and you look, and you can even play the videos in fast time, or you can even just read the transcripts, we win. We get this right every single time. Okay, now let's take a look at, I want to talk about zero balance mindset, right? All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about the weekly topic, right? This is the second thing. Every week we're going to get into the weekly topic. This week it's going to be about a zero balance mindset, folks. This week, talking about a zero mindset balance, you have to forget the last trade. Okay, what we mean by that is the market has a memory like an elephant. It remembers everything, okay? But it doesn't care about any one trade. Only you do. Only your body does. Only your mind does. The second you can let go of that last trade, the better off you're going to be for the next trade, okay? The market has a memory like an elephant. It does not forget. However, it doesn't remember any one single win or loss. It doesn't care who's winning or losing, all right? The market cares about efficiency of supply and demand in an expeditious manner. Zero balance mindset refers to the idea that the lack of memory of prior experiences may benefit your process. Having a zero balance memory allows you to start fresh every single month, week, day, session, hour, trade, etc. Think of it like Monte Carlo theory in statistics. Random. You can flip that coin, flip that coin, flip that coin, and you can flip that coin. And if you think that you can figure out a pattern in it, well, maybe, okay, but random distribution. Every new trade is a new statistical piece in itself. It has nothing to do with the next trade. It has nothing to do with the last one. Just like every flip of the coin has nothing to do with the last one or the next one. It's either heads or tails, okay? So let's think like the market. Now remember, the market never forgets. The market does not forget that the VPOC, and I'm just making this up, it never forgets that the VPOC was a 6986 spot 25 on the close on Friday. I'm not making that up. It's never going to forget that, but you will. So how do we balance between the zero balance mindset and remembering, okay, that's where the repetitions come in. That's where your coach comes in. Okay, we'll leave the link for the coaching calls. You absolutely have to have a coach in trading. Okay, this is where your coach comes in. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a look at what I think is going to happen next. All right, what I think is going to happen next, ladies and gentlemen, and this is my personal opinion, is we're going to waffle around. Let's just go to the daily. Let's hide all this stuff, and we're going to waffle around. All right, now let me see. We're either going to go, this is a draw a line here, okay, and draw a line here. Okay. All right. So what we're looking at here is I'm just going to do some drawing. This is a very simple, crude, elementary drawing. This is how it works. This is how it works. All right. So now we got the Joey X. Okay. And this is where I think it's going to go. On this date at this time, okay, January 28th at 7041. Okay. That's what I actually think is going to happen. Okay. I'll put a horizontal right there. That is where it's going to go, in my opinion. Now, watch this. It can go anywhere it wants until it gets right here. That's where I think it's going to go. That is what I think it's going to do. Okay, we're in position one to the upside, but it's a very, very long in the tooth. But I do believe they've had a chance to draw on liquidity. They've had a chance to draw on liquidity. I've got a question for you. Here's the question. If two rivers meet, which one of them is the liquidity? All right, traders, that's going to do it for me. This is Rev-Up. I go by SageFT. This was the live trading desk review and Rev-Up. Hit that like button. Hit the share button. Subscribe. Turn notification bells on. You can follow us on Twitter at @_SageFT. We will leave the link to our Discord. Absolutely free. Don't forget to get the game plan. It's completely free. I'll see you Tuesday morning. We have a holiday in America, Martin Luther King Day, Monday, the 19th. Thank you. See ya.